This creepypasta was submitted by a user. If you would like to submit your own creepypasta, check the pinned comment in my latest video for instructions. Also be sure to vote for this creepypasta in the poll. Every night at precisely 3:33 a.m. I hear a loud knock on my window. I live in an apartment on the 6th floor with windows that face the street. Every night I wake up to the sound of what seems to be a bus backfiring. Then I hear footsteps near my door. At first I thought it was just some drunk guy trying to get into my apartment. So I started keeping a baseball bat beside my bed. Then one night I got sick of it and decided to open the window and scream out. What the F is going on out there? Of course I got no response except for the sound of what seemed to be whispering. I couldn't make out the words they were saying, but it sounded like they were getting closer. I slammed the window shut and locked it. From that day on, I kept my window closed and locked at night. I didn't want to know what was out there. One night, however, my dog started barking around 3:30 a.m. I tried to calm him down, but he wouldn't stop. I opened the window to try and distract him with the fresh air, but then he started to growl and then scream. My blood ran cold as I watched what was outside my window. There was a red double-decker bus that had stopped right outside my building. The engine was turned off and all the lights were turned off except for one. The top light of the bus was on and it was flashing red. As I watched, people started getting off the bus. They were all dressed in what seemed to be 1940s clothes. Well, that's what they appeared to be wearing from where I could see them. All I could really make out was the silhouette of their bodies, but that wasn't what freaked me out. What really scared me was that they weren't getting off the bus normally. They were basically being dragged off. It was like they were tied up with ropes that were being pulled tight. I saw a man in what seemed to be a conductor's uniform pull several people off the bus like this. He even pulled a little girl off the bus. She must have been around 8 years old. I remember thinking, how the hell can a little girl be strong enough to pull herself up like that? The last person to get off the bus was a woman. She looked around the same age as me, maybe a bit older. She was wearing a long red dress and a black hat. As she was being pulled off the bus, her hat flew off and she let out a blood-curdling scream. That's when I realized I had to do something. I jumped out of bed, ran over to the window and started banging on it. The people on the bus stopped what they were doing and stared at me. The girl even let go of the rope that was tied to her and waved at me. Startled, I quickly turned away and closed the window. I don't know why I did that. Maybe it was to hide myself, or maybe it was because I was afraid. But before I could think about what I should do next, I heard a loud knock on my door. I slowly walked over to it and hesitantly asked, "Who's there?" No response. I heard a loud bang on the door and then the doorknob started to turn. I screamed and hid behind the bed. Whoever was out there stopped trying to open the door and started banging on the window. I peeked through the blinds and saw the same little girl from earlier. She was looking up at me and smiling. It was a smile that number 8-year-old should ever have. I quickly turned away and tried to calm myself down. Was this some kind of a nightmare or was I actually in danger? I ran to the window again and looked outside. The bus was gone and so were all the people. I felt a sense of relief knowing that whatever had been going on outside my window was over. But that feeling quickly turned into confusion. How did that bus get up to the 6th floor? I live in an apartment building that doesn't even have an elevator. And how did those people get inside? Did they break in or were they invited? The questions kept racing through my mind, but I knew the only way to find out the answers was to go outside and investigate. I put on a jacket and headed out the door. As I was making my way down the stairs, I noticed something strange. All the stair risers were covered in what seemed to be blood. I continued to go down, each step making me more and more uncomfortable until I got to the ground floor and pushed open the door. That's when I saw it. The red bus was parked right outside my building. The engine was turned off and the doors were open. Hesitantly, I approached the bus and took a step onto the first stair. That's when I heard a voice behind me say, well, looks like we finally got him." I slowly turned around and saw the man who seemed to be in charge of the bus. He was standing at the top of the stairs with a sinister smile on his face. "You shouldn't have followed us," he said. I started to back away, but he took a step toward me and said, "It's too late now." I screamed and ran as fast as I could. Yeah, I never got away from that bus. They caught me and now I'm one of them. Wait here, you'll be picked up soon.